And we're live. So, hello, we are here today with the, gosh, there's so many words I can use to describe you. Mr. Willie Gault. I mean, I've got like 5,000 words that I can use to describe you, but I'll just first start. I'm Candy Conda, Hall of Famer, and I'm going to tell you that I am from Chicago, by the way, but I
Awesome.
currently live in Las Vegas. And what you may or may not know is I'm a Hall of Famer because I used to own a women's pro basketball team in Chicago, the Chicago Twisters, and
Wow.
Stephanie Rivera was my head coach, and Ron Rivera was her husband. And so,
Wow.
who knew, right?
Congratulations.
So, yeah,
Congratulations. That's
thank you.
awesome.
But I know. So, I mean, we just are connected in two ways. And would you ever have expected the Raiders to be in Las Vegas?
No, not really. Because I saw the Raiders as being a California team. I mean, it was Oakland, then it was LA. So I thought they'd come back to LA before Vegas. But I think it was Al Davis's dream 15, 20 years ago to be in Vegas, and his son Mark made it come true.
Right. So I'm actually in LA now because I think Bert called you to tell you my daughter lives here. She's a TV
Yeah.
anchor, and it just so happens I'm here this week. So yeah,
Oh,
but
good. Worked out perfectly.
you did right. So a couple questions. So you played with Walter Payton for what, 5 years?
Correct. 5 years.
Yeah. So I'm going to just a couple of things I got to throw out here. So, of course, your NFL wide receiver, played with the Chicago Bears, 83, 87, my hometown. Raiders for what, 88 to 93. Winter Olympics World Championship, Super Bowl, that 85 championship.
Yes.
Bears team, yes, go Bears. My dad is like, Bears crazy to this day. Even when they're losing, he's a Bears fan, so that's
Right.
good. I
Absolutely.
can call him any. He is a diehard Bears fan. I love that about my dad.
That's
You
great.
are dual sport athlete, and I read something. What are you, the fastest 55-year-old in the world, or something like that?
Yes, I have several world records in different age groups, and 45 to 50, 50 to 55, 55 to 60, and 55 over. So, in 100 meters and 200 meters over the last 35 years, I've broken 13 world records, I think, which has never really been done before in that stretch of time. So, I enjoy running. I guess I'm like Forrest Gump in a sense. I just keep running.
Now that should be the title of your book.
Keep running.
Keep running, right?
Right.
Also, so normally I do the Walter Payton stuff at the end, but this time I'm going to jump in and do it first. So
Okay.
you played with Walter for 5 years. Um, you were he was the MVP. Tell me what that was like. Just everybody else that I've interviewed, and I've interviewed, gosh, at least 10 or 15 people just for this series that we're doing. Tell me what it was like playing with him, just in general, and then that Super Bowl game. No one else can tell us what you can
Right.
tell us.
Well, there are special people that come in your life once or twice in a lifetime. And we lived in an era where it was very fortunate we had a guy like Walter Payton, and the young players who are playing now will never get an opportunity to know him. But I had the opportunity to meet him before I played with them. We became friends, I think, 2 years before the Bears drafted me. So I knew him a little bit, but then when I got an opportunity to play with him, I was very pleased because, in my opinion, of course, he's one of the greatest players to ever play the game. There's arguably, there's several that you can put your finger on, and he's one of those guys. He was just a consummate teammate. He worked really hard. He was very knowledgeable, very playful. He kept things light. And, it was just really a pleasure to play with him and to be with him and to call him my friend.
So they talk about him being fast, but you being one of the fastest men in the world. What do you think about him? Him being fast and light on his feet on the field. How do you feel about that?
Well, I wouldn't describe Walsh as being fast. I think he was quick and he had great feet, great movement, and great balance. That's more what I would say. He had great balance. He wasn't fast per se, but he was great
Right,
balance.
because his brother Eddie said he was actually faster than Walter. That's
Right,
what he
right,
told
right,
me in his
right. Yeah,
interview.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Right. Absolutely, for sure. But yeah, he had great balance, great knowledge of the game. He had toughness. I mean, his toughness is probably what most people will remember him by, because he didn't actually he delivered the punch most of the time. When someone tried to hit him, he actually delivered the hit. So he had tremendous balance, like a ballet dancer. But he was really cool and fun to be around, and he was a jokester, prankster, and we had fun. He's just sorely been missed for sure.
And what is the nickname Sweetness? What does that mean to you when you heard that
Well,
name?
sweetness to me means that everything he did was just sweet. It was nice, It was like, oh my gosh, that was sweet. That was a sweet move. That was a sweet hit. So it's one of those things where he did it with such grace, and he did it with style, and it was like it was effortless for him. And so when I hear sweetness, I always, of course, think of Walter. But for me, sweetness means he did it his way. It was sweet.
So, one of the things that this golf tournament is doing, it's a scholarship golf tournament that Eddie Payton, in its 21st year, and it's about family legacy, and it's about, uh, you know, raising money for scholarships for youth. How important is it for legacies, especially for professional athletes, to leave a legacy and actually help community?
Well, I think it's important because too much is given, much is required. It's what we do in between our dash, what we leave behind. It's important to know that we have a springboard to be able to say things and to let people listen to us. And it's important that we use that to help others. Because if we don't help our brothers, then our brothers will not be able to do what we need them to do in the future, because they're our future. And kids need an opportunity. When kids see something that is good and that they want to mimic that, they need the opportunity to pursue that. And I think it's important for these type of tournaments and these type of fundraisers. And a lot of great guys all over the country are doing them. I mean, Eric Dickerson does them. One of my great friends, Marcus Allen, does them. Tim Brown. The list goes on and on. And these guys participate and do these tournaments, and they really help a lot of kids. And that's so important, because kids are our future. And without them, our future is going to
Absolutely.
be very, very dim.
So, are there any Walter Payton stories that you'd like to share? Just anything you can think of, just off the top of your head? Maybe
Well,
just a joke.
there's a couple of funny ones, a couple of funny I can tell you that are not X-rated. But um, one day we were on the practice field, and it was pretty early, and we were all gathered around and about to practice, and all of a sudden a firecracker goes off, a big missile like bomb, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh!" And it was Walter who had lit up the firecracker at a bomb, and so everyone sort of jumped and ran, and Walter's over there laughing. So it was just really funny. And one
Oh,
one
that's
other one
good.
other I'll tell you, one other I'll tell you. It was a hard practice one day. Well, we had a hard practice one day. The next day, Walter came in early, and there were several guys that he put icy hot in their jocks. So when they put their jocks on and they went to practice, they were just burning up, and it was just really funny. It's really funny.
So he was a practical joker, huh?
Absolutely, for sure, for sure. Almost every day, something.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Yeah.
Um, so let me ask you this. So when do you guys ever get to are there any other, like, guys that are like from you guys era, that you guys ever just like get together sometime? Like, do the Bears still, is there like an old Bears club still that gets together? And like,
Well, I'm sure they wouldn't like you to say "Old Bears Club."
well, you know what I'm saying. I
Right,
shouldn't
right.
say old
Yeah,
Bears,
but
but you know
we
what I'm
see each
saying.
other.
The
Well,
original,
I know what you're
the
saying.
original
I
Bears
know,
club.
I understand what you're saying. We see each other periodically. I mean, I see Richard Dent probably more than anyone else, because we play in a lot of the same golf tournaments. Marcus Allen's tournament, Eric Dickerson's tournament. We see with Dr. J and those type of guys. So I see him more. I see Jim McMahon sometime, because we go to some of the same tournaments. And I see Otis Wilson probably next, and then Dennis McKinnon, who was my ex receiver teammate. And some of the guys, we had a reunion. I think it was a year or so ago, a 100-year reunion, which I saw most of the guys. That was the last time we had a really something special. It was 2019, I think it was. But a lot of the guys, of course, are getting older, and they're not. Some of them are not in great health,
You
so it's
used
always
the
good to
word
see them.
old just now.
I said older. I said older.
Right. Well, when I interviewed Mike Dick, they were here for Monsters of the Midway. They actually had they had the little think it was him, Mike Singletary, and I think it was Erlacher They were here.
Right,
They had a little Monsters of the Midway thing. But yeah,
right.
so let me ask you this question. What's different about the game today from when you played?
Well, the rules are different somewhat because of the hitting, protecting the quarterback, protecting the receivers. It's more of an offensive game as far as throwing, even though the defenses are
Right.
great. But it's more of a throwing game. It protects. It's exciting. There's a lot more money involved. The social media is so much more. I mean, guys can't really sneeze without someone saying something about it because of social media.
Right.
If we had that in our day, I'm not sure what would have happened because that was crazy.
Right.
Oh my gosh, our team was one of the craziest teams, probably along with the Raiders, the old Raiders. Those two teams. If we had social media back that day, I'm not sure what would have happened. Probably had a bunch of guys locked up, probably.
Oh, let me tell you, when I interviewed Mike Ditka, that's what he was talking about, him putting his helmet in people's chests and all the stuff that he used to do, and he was like, "Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten away with all that stuff."
No, no, they would have been suspended for sure.
Of course. So someone told me to ask you this. What do you think
Uh-oh.
about the quarterbacks today, like Patrick Mahomes, spreading the defense out? Do you think that you would have gotten as many catches? Someone told me to
Love it.
ask you that.
Love those offenses. I mean, the receivers now are catching 100 passes. I mean, we just didn't throw the ball. We had a guy named Walter Payton who was pretty good at running back. And we were a balanced offense. We were a balanced offense. So I led my team each year with 30 or 40 catches because that's all we threw the ball. I would love to have caught 100 passes. I think I could have if the right situation. But those wide open offenses like Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill, I love it. I love watching them. I love watching quarterbacks. I like it. I'm a Bears fan, but I like this. I like Aaron Rodgers. I like Tom Brady. I like Mahomes. I like Lamar Jackson. I like those guys. They're really, really cool. And I'm excited to see what our new quarterback can do with the Bears, Justin Fields.
Right, right. So which defensive back did someone also ask me to ask? Defensive
Mike
back
Haynes. Mike Haynes.
gave you the biggest, hardest time? Was that it?
Well, Mike Haynes was the best defensive back I played against. And second was Darrell
Okay.
Green. Darrell Green
You
and
knew
I
you
had
knew
a
what the
battle.
question was. Okay.
I know what it was.
I love
Mike
it.
Haynes was the best defensive back I played against, and
Okay.
Darrell Green was the close second. Darrell was great, and every time I played him, it brought the best in me, and I think I brought the best in him. And we talked about it. We're friends, and it was really great. It's great to be able to have a friendly rivalry like that, and a relationship and a playing opposite player.
It's so
Yeah.
funny when we put these flyers up of who we're interviewing, people start texting me and inboxing me. And also, I have a clubhouse room too with
Right.
20,000 people in it. And I'm
Oh,
telling you,
great.
they started. So if you ever want to come on Clubhouse, let me know. I got 2,000 people in my clubhouse. And we
Absolutely.
have
For sure.
we got an NFL room on Tuesday nights. So if
Okay.
you
Cool.
ever want to come in there, let me know.
All right, great.
So somebody said, what quarterback fits your style would you like to play today?
Probably Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers because
Okay.
Drew Brees is already retired. And I mean, it wouldn't be too bad to play with Tom Brady either. So, I mean, those are the
Okay.
top quarterbacks in the league right now, and they actually have been around for a little while. They're really impressive to me. I think they are very smart. They're all smart and know what they're doing, and it's just a great wide open field.
And do you think the game is, I don't like to use the word like too soft. I've heard people say that, but do you think the changes are too much? Or do
No, I
you
don't
think
think
there's,
so. No, I
okay,
definitely don't
great.
think it's too much. I think, look, with experience comes knowledge. We paid the
Absolutely.
price for today's game. When I said pay the price, the guys who are having problems now, like Mongo, and like the guys who are no longer with us, Dave Durham, God rest his soul, Junior Seau, those guys, we all paid the price to know what we can and cannot do. There's limits on what a
Absolutely.
human can do. And CT is real. Think about it. If I'm 175, 74 pounds, someone weighing 260 pounds running full speed and hit me in the head, that's probably 600, 700, 1,000 pounds of pressure. My brain's not made for that. My skull's
Right.
not made for that. I'm not a
Right.
ram. A ram can do that. A real ram. That's what they're built for. but we're just not built for that.
Absolutely.
So I think the things that the commissioner has implemented in the league are for the safety of the players, because without the players, there's no game. And the
Right.
sooner we realize that, and the sooner the players realize that by not hitting right, they're going to hurt themselves, especially the defensive players. Defensive players have to learn that they have to protect themselves by not hitting with their head, not leading with their head.
Right.
And the game is still the same. I mean, you look at, there's still hard hits, there's still big plays, but it's just a safer game, and guys can live longer, because the bottom line is the average player, I think, is average 55 to 60-year-old. They die. So if we can get that average up to 70, like the normal people, 75,
Right.
then it's a better situation. That's what we were trying to do. I think the commissioner has
Absolutely.
done a great job with that, trying to make that happen. So I'm all for.
And
I'm all
speaking
for
of the commissioner, next time you get those box seats, call me up and I'll just run right over.
no
I don't
problem.
live that far from Allegiant Stadium. I
Right,
can run
exactly.
right over.
Right. Okay. But sure.
So, um, I was asking Mark Rippon yesterday. This was hilarious, by the way. We were talking about NFTs, and he was like, "I'm not quite sure what that means." So I told him, I says, "I'll talk to you about that later." What do you think about NFTs? And do you think, because do you think that that's going to help some of the players build their legacies? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, NFTs from a old school business standpoint doesn't make sense to
Hmm.
the business world, because it's
Right.
really nothing. It's something, but it's nothing. You're buying
Right.
the image of something, but not really have it. Because I could sell you my watch here. I keep the watch,
Correct.
but you have a digital image of it. It doesn't make
Right.
sense, but we live in a digital world, and people,
Right.
if they'll buy it, and if someone else buys it, then it makes it valuable. I mean, just like today's society with YouTubers. YouTubers make
Right.
millions of dollars a year just doing nothing hardly. It's not the work ethic that I grew up with, so it's harder for someone who's older, who's 40 and older, to understand it. The younger kids understand it because that's all they know. So my
Right.
mind is open to just about anything. I don't close the door on anything. I think there's an opportunity there. If there's an opportunity, then you can take advantage of it. Then it's good. I'm wide open when it comes to technology and new techniques
Right.
and possibilities, because when I look at it, I don't know everything.
Well, one
I
of
don't
the things
know
I'm working on, and I was telling Mark Rippon yesterday, I will be creating a cheat sheet for some of the legends to kind of understand what it is. Because I do want everyone to kind of understand what it is. But I thought it was interesting that what is it? Steinberg, he had unveiled one in one of my rooms for Ronald Jones. And
everything.
then right after that, I saw that the NFL, the reason why I asked you that, the NFL is creating their own imaging department for NFTs for NFL players. So they're
Well, of
kind of
course, because
jumping in.
because there's money there. I mean, look, people are
Of
paying millions
course.
of dollars for stuff. I mean, so when you see that, you have to be with the trends, because it's going to come and
Exactly.
go. There's a door that
Right.
opens and closes. So Bitcoin was amazing. It was when it was small. People go, "Oh, I don't believe it," and then people put money, and then it went to 60,000 per Bitcoin, and now it's down to 30. There's stuff that happens, and if you're on that wave, you catch it high, it's a great opportunity for people. So, it's just one of those things where you have to have your finger on the pulse. And I think the NFL try to keep their fingers on the pulse. They have a great leader, and he tries to make sure he's updated.
But they've got to look at how much money Patrick Mahomes made on his NFT, because he made a lot
Right,
of money.
and yeah, absolutely. And the first NFT they look at too. I mean, the first NFT was a video that sold for $250 million. It was nothing, but just the way it goes, because it was first. Now, how much of that
Right.
money they got, I have no idea, but it's a big
Right.
number. Right.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. So what do you think about the NIL? What do you think about that? The NIL, what they're doing now, and all of these young kids being able to make money off their likeness, and you've got to watch my video with Ray
Right.
Ellis, because he was the first NIL case.
Well,
That
I
was
love
like,
it. I love it. I mean, the thing about it is this: it's good, and it's not going to be perfect, but at least
right.
it's an opportunity, because everyone won't be able to get the big dollar. I mean, the star players will
Right.
be able to, and the guys who are on the bottom will be lost again. So it's hard to try to balance it. It's a balancing
Right.
act to try it, but it's going to be hard to do because it's indicative of life. Think about it. Jeff Bezos makes $200 billion, and is that fair? No, but it's the way it is because he had an idea. He had the concept. He worked. He did it and built it. So it is what it is. So it's not a perfect system, but I think it's warranted and it's something that's well overdue.
But I do think it will give women, I think it will level the playing field for young women, for women who I think have been left out. And also there'll be a lot of athletes who may not be the star athlete, but now maybe they can get, they will be able to get some revenue from maybe that local brand in their city, right?
Right,
The local
right,
Toyota dealership or something that, so
right.
yeah,
Well,
it's not
I'm
perfect. It's
all
not,
for that. I'm
yeah.
all for that. Everything that can level the playing field. Females. I love women. They're amazing. Without women, there'd be no men. And so,
Yeah.
that playing field needs to be equal. And one other thing. I mean, think about it. Even our Constitution. No, there's no woman. There was no woman involved with the Constitution. So our Constitution should be rewritten actually, because it needs to be updated for what we are. The Constitution was written by 30 and 40-year-old guys at the time. I think Ben Franklin was the oldest one at 60 or 70. But they wrote the Constitution for us for when there was slavery. There were no women. There were no women rights, and there was slavery. So they wrote it slided for them. So it should be rewritten. Some of the things are good, and some of the things should be rewritten. I think we have smart people in this day and time that we can make it more fair now. And I think the fact that we don't do that, I think, is a really big injustice.
I think we need you in Congress, and I think we
Well,
need you in some of these sporting. I think we need you in some of these sporting. Some of these sporting. What is some of their factions as well?
right.
The
Well,
tennis
the bottom
association.
line is
We need you in the tennis
right.
association.
the
Come
the
on
bottom
now.
line is the bottom line is I just think we live in a society where I'm no better than you. I'm a guy, you're a girl. It doesn't matter because when we're cut, we bleed. We have the same
Right.
problem. We hurt, But women should be respected more, of course, because they're the bearer of our kids. Without them, there are no society. There's nothing. So until we realize that as a man situation, if we realize that, then we're still going to be lost, and it's always going to be a little bit unequal. And when I say equal, men are different than women. By nature, we're stronger physically, not mentally by nature, but we are stronger physically. If you have a man who's 180, you have a woman who's 180. Most time in normal, the man's going to be stronger physically, but it doesn't mean that the lady can't compete. So there are certain roles that are really natural, but also there are some that are not. And I think, once we realize that and respect that, I think we're going to be a better country. And,
But so many of the rules though in sports are antiquated and they are behind the times. I mean, we noticed that just happened with Naomi Osaka and a lot of the things
yeah,
that happened with her, and Simone Biles just this summer. And it's like we're still repeating the same thing over and over and over and over. I mean, that those rules aren't governed by us. They're governed by a foreign body. But I mean, after we saw everything that happened, is you would think that, I mean, you see what I mean, I really
yeah,
do think that, we need to overhaul so many of these
oh,
rules and
absolutely.
these governing bodies. I mean,
But
really. And
think
I think
about it.
they're
Think about it, though. Think about the reason why. Because those rules have been around for a long time. And guess who made
right.
those rules? Men.
Men,
Men made
of
those
course.
rules. So,
Right.
so when men made those rules, they're geared toward men. Now, sure, they said, well, okay, it applies for ladies, but they're really men rules. So, should it be adapted? Yes. Can women make just as much as men? Yes, in certain situations they can. But it comes down to viewership. NBA is the top viewer besides WNBA. Now, how we get that to be equal, it's going to be hard to do because of just people watching or whatever. But there is a way to do that. In track and field, does Usain Bolt deserve more than Elaine Thompson or Hurrah? I don't know because they're both the fast. Both is a world record holder, and he's a guy. So yeah, there are some equalities. I mean, the same thing with black and white. Same thing
but
with
you know
everything.
how we fix that? You know how we fix that, Willie? We need
How?
people like you to speak
Yeah.
up and demand that there's a woman at the table for things like this. That's really it. Because you look at what just happened with all of the actresses, and how Dag, what's her name? What's her name, Danielle, that just became the highest paid woman on 911. Dag, I can't think of her name now. That just became the highest paid woman actress.
Right.
But that's
Right.
the reason why that happened though was because before that happened with her, someone else demanded in another role that they weren't coming on. I forgot what show it was, until everybody was paid the same. You need somebody has to stand up. There has to be
Right.
one person. There got to be a
Right.
hero or a hero in the story that
Right.
stands up and
Absolutely.
says, "Okay, everybody,
Right.
you that hero. You're it."
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's
You
what you need.
trend
Absolutely. You got
because
to
you
stand up, because
transcend.
if you don't stand up, you're sitting down.
Right.
Right.
Angela
And
Bassett. Angela
and go
Bassett
back.
just
Okay.
became
Right.
became the highest paid woman. But that happened because 2 movies ago, somebody else stood up and said, "Hey, until everybody in the movie is paid the same," which was a white woman, right?
Right.
We're not gonna
Right.
make this movie. So
Right.
we have that hero to make this hero. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So
Absolutely.
you got to be the hero in this sports story, in our sports movie that says,
Right.
"Look, I'm putting you on the
Right.
spot." Willie was like, "Wait,
It's all good.
I
It's
was
all
doing
good.
an
Absolutely.
interview, and now I'm
Right.
in Congress."
Yeah, you got me in Congress, running for Congress, and everything else. Right. Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You are the hero. But yes, I mean, because really, that's it. I mean, because somebody has to do it, and it's you. A couple
Well,
more
we all, I
questions,
think
because
we
I
all
don't.
have to take responsibility. We really do,
True, we
and
do.
also be conscious, because a lot of people walk around unconscious. We have to really be conscious about what we're doing, what we're saying, how it's affecting someone. And now the thing about it, the old adage is that if you treat someone the way you like to be treated, and you respect yourself, then we have no problems. But the problem is that
True.
a lot of people don't respect themselves, and they don't respect others. So that's a big problem.
Very
And
true.
if we can get past that, we will have a great union. Because look, there's no better place than to live than in America. America is a great place. We have a lot of problems, but I've been around the world. I've been fortunate to been around the world several times, and I've been to other countries. I've seen how they live. We have the best country in the world. We have problems and we have people. But if those people don't want to live by the laws as far as being respect each other, love each other, not hating, not prejudice, then I think they should be not here. That's all. You can go live somewhere else and be hateful and prejudiced. Just do it somewhere else. I think once we get to that level, then I think you'll see a better place to live, better country. My
Question:
opinion.
What words do you have for the younger NFL players? Couple words of advice. It could just be motivation, or just
Well, I think for me, with the younger players, I think because they're in such a different time than I was, social media is such a big thing, and everyone wants to be on top, and everyone wants to be the big talk. I just think, if you play with humbleness and you play your best, you do your best, the records will be set in stone who you were. I don't think you have to say everything. You don't have to be the loud one to get the grease. There's plenty of grease to be oiled if you don't be loud. If you just do your job, be on time, pay attention, be respectful to people, garnish those relationships, respect people that are paying the bills, basically, which are the fans. And I think you'll have a great career and a great life afterwards, because there is a life after football, guys. If you're God willing and you're healthy, you will retire one day and you will not be a football player. It's a short life. If you play 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, it's a short life. And the rest of your life, you have
true.
something else to do, and you have to deal with people.
So, have you ever played at the South Shore Country Club before in Lake Las Vegas?
I think I have. I played just about everywhere in Vegas. I've played
Okay.
in Vegas for the
Okay.
last 15 years, so I play everywhere. So,
Okay.
yeah, so I'm sure I've played there.
Okay, because it's one of the top three golf courses. They are giving
Yeah.
away 2 cars. So Mark Rippon told me yesterday that he's a pretty good golfer, and he's definitely going to win one of the cars, because he said he's going to drive me away in one
Okay.
of the cars so that I can explain what NFTs are. as he drives me away in one of the
Right.
cars. So I saw that you were hobnobbing with Cedric, George Lopez, Commissioner Goodell, Anthony Anderson, Marcus Allen, Eric Dickerson, Jamie Foxx. So who in here is going to be in your foursome so you can win the other car? Is my last question.
Oh well, see, when the car, your foursome doesn't matter. It has to be you hitting the ball in the hole. It's a hole in one. You know, in hole in one, I don't really. I've won. I've had two hole in ones. One I won a car.
Okay.
It was something
Okay.
like 10 years ago. So the hole in ones, really, you can't try to hit it to the hole. You just got to try to hit a good shot. Because if you
Okay.
try to hit in the hole, you usually don't do it. So if you try to hit a
Okay.
good shot, and then if you get lucky, then it goes in. But I won't try to hit a hole in one. I'm just going to try to play my best,
Okay.
have
So
fun.
that so my secondary question then is who in this group then, sorry, would be in your foursome? I guess that's my question.
If I how many do I get? How many
What do you
players?
mean?
One players in the
No,
foursome.
you no, I'm just saying who would be in your foursome? Who in this
Okay,
group
so
would
I
be
would like my foursome would be Marcus Allen first, of course.
okay?
I like George Lopez, Eric Dickerson, and me.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
There we
that's
have it.
fun.
All
We're gonna
right.
have fun all day if that's the case. Because George is gonna be
Okay.
joking, Marcus is gonna be joking, Eric and I are gonna be laughing.
All right. Well, this has been amazing, and thank you so much for your time. I really
Okay.
appreciate it. I've had a ball, and thank you very much. And we'll see you on the 10th and 11th in Lakes, Las Vegas, the South Shore Country Club in Henderson at the Walter Payton Golf Classic. And thank you very much for your time. And I'll
Great.
see you again. Bye bye now.
Okay. Have a good day. All right. Bye bye.